Alright, this video is basically a follow-up video to my classic Doom versus modern Doom discussion video. This time it's going to focus more on the mapping and user-generated content aspect. I decided to take it to a direction that's more focused on whether SnapMap has reached the level of similar quality to the user-made WODs that we see in classic Doom today. I always looked at classic Doom fan-made content to be the top-tier experience for additional Doom content made by the fans. These levels can totally rival the official maps in how, they play and look, and the standards have also been constantly pushed due to how flexible the old game's engine were. And yeah, you can do so much in that game where the official developers wouldn't be able to do with the hardware back in the early 90s. I think Doom 1 and 2 are really the biggest classic FPS games that still have people making maps compared to other games in its style. With that said, I do want to say that I am aware of a Doom 3 modding scene, and I know there were people that did make Doom 3 maps and took advantage of its engine and do cool stuff. The one I truly remembered way back in the day was Shambler's Castle, which I think it was like a remake of Quake 1 done in the Doom 3 engine. But unfortunately, I never got around playing it, and I never got too into that scene because Doom 3, it never really was that game that I heavily got into the user-generated content scene. I guess I was always, I was always like happy with the official maps from the standard game and its expansion. So I really don't know how many people are mapping for Doom 3 nowadays or how consistent its map quality is. But I'm sure, there are people that definitely have done some great stuff with the Doom 3 assets, and I just want to mention this, not to bash Doom 3 or neglect the game, because I do know there's a mapping community in that game. Even though there's no statistics or official numbers that we have on which mapping community is bigger when it comes to the Doom series, but I think it's safe to say that classic Doom is the biggest compared to both Doom 3 and Doom 2016, because it's been around for years, it's been around for a long time, and there's a lot of campaigns you can play. People still play classic Doom for the user generated content, and there's a bunch of modded add-ons and all that stuff, and it has just a ridiculous amount of content that you could look for. Another thing is making classic Doom maps is easier than ever, which is one of the main reasons why I think it still maintained a dedicated and active mapping community throughout the years. For Doom 3's situation, there's no map editor like Doom Builder, so what that means is there's a higher learning curve when it comes to making levels for Doom 3. For SnapMap's situation, I think SnapMap could have easily been a proper spiritual successor to Doom Builder if only it had a better first impression, because it is simple to use and there's a bunch of tutorials there to guide you, and it was supposed to be designed for people, being able to make levels without any special background of that field. There's no doubt that the early days of SnapMap was rough and everybody was a critic, but they had the right to be, because I still remember, being disappointed with the stuff that we had on launch day with SnapMap, and this was one of the things I was looking forward to for Doom 2016 when I bought the game on launch day. Now let's fast forward to present times. Without a doubt, it's great to see how SnapMap has come a long way, and it's even cool that we managed to get more content due to people figuring out how to implement modded assets. I personally believe ever since Free Update 4 has happened to SnapMap, we were able to make maps that are on par of the classic Doom content from its mapping community. Now, let me be clear on this. This doesn't necessarily mean that making a Doom 2016 SnapMap means you have the same amount of flexibility of making a classic Doom WOD, but I believe it's where we can finally make SnapMaps that can rival against the developers made maps in the single player campaign, and it also allow SnapMappers to be more expressive with their creation. For example, I remember once we started getting the decals and all that stuff, and I was trying to experiment with it, I absolutely loved what you could do with the decals, and I eventually implemented that in my city survival maps just to make the buildings look a lot more realistic, a lot more detailed, and that was one of the things I absolutely loved about updating my city survival map. That update right there to me really just kind of took city survival in a whole different approach when it comes to the aesthetics. And not only that, I've been playing SnapMaps for like so long, and I've made maps for like, so long, and there's just like a lot of content for, everybody out there that's looking for, more quality Doom 2016 content to play. I recommend people to check out BioWar if you're looking for a campaign that feels similar to the main game's campaign. Devil May Doom for people, who want like a more Doom Eternal styled experience in their, Doom 2016 SnapMap experience. No Rest for the Slayer for those who want a more classic Doom experience with the Doom 2016 sandbox. Antivirus if you want to play Doom but in a completely different setting and theme. And there's like just like so much great stuff that that the community has made, and it's just awesome to see like how far SnapMap has come. I can definitely say that Doom 2016 SnapMap will never have the same amount of flexibility and options that you can do with Doom Builder and making a level within the classic Doom engine. But I also believe that's what makes SnapMap so fun to use at the same time, overcoming its limitation with your imagination, which I think is one of the satisfying things you can do when making a level in Doom 2016. I was one of those guys who was upset with the 12 enemy limit back when I tried out SnapMap for the first time, but the more I used SnapMap and I basically figured out what to do to create intense encounters with only 12 demons on the screen, I feel very rewarded and proud for that. And I've done that so many times, and all of those intense fights I've made throughout the maps I've made, they're not the same. They all feel different from each other. I also believe there's enough quality, maps for people to play. You might not like find them with how SnapMap's UI currently is, and it's basically, it's just promoting like all the very old and outdated maps over the quality ones, which came out at a way later time than the very early pre-patch or free update 2 SnapMaps. So what that means is people have to do some digging to find like, maps that are worthy for their time. But I'd argue like, you have to do that the same in the classic Doom world too. I mostly like to play fan-made levels that feel more similar to the official classic Doom games. I don't like playing slaughter maps. I don't like playing like, maps with like weird and goofy gimmicks. Like, I just want something that's going to make me say, wow, this megawatt feels like it can be an expansion pack to Doom 2 or something along in the lines of that. But without a doubt, SnapMap's UI is certainly not the best, and it's something I feel like Escalation Studios could have improved upon before they completely abandoned SnapMap. I honestly think, I would have preferred a, update on SnapMap that just basically rectifies that issue rather than like, an update that just added more content and all of that stuff. Anyways, that's about it for the video. I'm curious to hear what you guys think of my opinion, and I'm curious to hear what people think of this, especially for like the people that play both classic Doom and Doom 2016 to put their perspective in this, or even if you map for both games. Thank you for watching, everyone.